An Orem native, LaVell Edwards grew up not too far from BYU, but after helping Lincoln High win the state football championship, he chose to attend Utah State. He became All-Mountain States Conference as an Aggie linebacker in 1950, was a 3-letter winner in football at USU, and then in 1993 joined the best of the Aggies on the school's all-century team. He distinguished himself as one of college football's greatest coaches in 28 years in charge at BYU. His Cougars won the national title in 1984. New Aggie Hall of Famer LaVell Edwards.
During the summer, I was out in the field working, and my little sister came out and got me and said that a couple of coaches from Utah State are there. And so I went in and visited with them. They invited me to come up, and this was like in July. And I did, visited, stayed overnight, and went home. That's how I came to school, because I liked it up here, and that's the extent of my recruiting. Another reason that I wanted Utah State is because they had been very good while I was in high school. I graduated in high school in '48, and I think in '46 and '47 they had some pretty good teams with Jay Benoit and John Caputo and Moni Schwab and Burl Kidman and those guys, and I figured that's going to be a good place. I played my freshman ball, and Dick Romney was there, and freshmen of course weren't eligible in those days. And then he left, and then they hired George Malinkovich, so I had George my junior and senior year, or my sophomore and junior year, and then he left, and then I had John Ronning my senior year. And John had more influence on me, I think, just in that 1 year than I think anybody that I've been associated with, is from a standpoint of a coach and how you go about doing things and organization and having a plan and whatever else. That pretty definitive on what he wanted done and how he wanted it done and whatever. And so that was very impressive to me, I remember at that time. Yeah, I played both ways as a sophomore. I was a center and a linebacker, and developed what reputation I had as a linebacker. And I remember I think it may have been my first year as a sophomore, and we're playing University of Nevada, and they had, it was right after the war, and they had some great players on that team. A lot of them went on to play in the pros and whatever. And the rules were pretty loose at that time, and so they had put together a pretty good group. And I remember they had a great big nose tackle named Punjab Harrison. And I'd get down, and we're playing the single wing. And in those days, centers now in this shotgun they play, they'll look through and get an idea, then they'll look up and snap it. In those days you kept your head down to make sure you got it snapped in the right place. And I'd glance up sometime, and I'd see this guy standing there, and he'd be crouched down, but he'd have one arm just swinging back and forth, and it looked like it was about that big, and it was wrapped with tape, and as soon as that ball was snapped, boom! And then particularly on punts, you'd see the ball go back, and then you'd see me come up, that he would just nail me right. And that was fairly memorable. Anyway, they had Chuck was coaching here then, and they had some pretty good teams, and he did a nice job of coaching.
What was your reaction when you got the call with the invitation to be in the Utah State University Hall of Fame?
I was obviously very, very pleased, because I have great fondness for this place. I always have, and for a lot of reasons. Meeting my wife. I had a lot of great friends up here. I lived over in the Sigma Nu house, and so I was living up on campus, and till we got married, and a lot of great friends that were made here, and I just had a great time.